Hello, everyone. It's Graham Cofe with My Music now. It's very sad, but I have to tell you, I was waiting. I was expecting a guest at this time of night. It's going to be an amazing day of music interviews, third interview of the day. It was going to be fantastic, brilliant, but I don't know. I don't know what happened, but look, let's just play this video, come back and see what happens after this. Fooled a lot of ya. You see, we actually have got a band here. Hello, guys. It's the guys from the Institute.
Hello.
Nice to see you.
Hey, how you doing?
Yeah, sound.
I hope I knock somebody off their chair there with that enthusiasm. The next time.
I hope they're not still disappointed.
Well, that doesn't look like a band. Back in my day, they had long hair and they greased themselves.
Loads of these caps. Loads.
It's all disappearing rapidly. How are you both doing?
Good, thank you very much. Yeah, good. We're halfway through this year's tour, so we're feeling good and excited and ready to go for more. And we're just really grateful that you've invited us on to have a chat with you.
Yeah, well, me too. I'm really glad you could make it and spend some time with us this evening. Now, look, you're going really, let's talk about this, Kurt. You are going really rock and roll there tonight because you are coming live from your son's bedroom.
That's not his son's. That's not his son's bedroom. That's his bedroom.
Is it?
Kurt, I tried to make an effort. I put the guitar case in the background, a few cool jackets. Kirk's got Pokemon stickers and some pull-ups.
To be fair, I saw this as audio only.
Well, there you go. Now, let's be fair, though. Let's be fair. What are those stickers on that bed? Does it say pay up?
It say pay
get
up,
out. Yeah. Pay up or get out to your kids.
It's in support of the teachers' strikes.
Is it?
Yeah.
Well, no, I think it should be in support of musicians.
Should be, yeah, absolutely.
Shouldn't it? Eh? Yeah,
you've got political kids, Kirk.
I have got political kids, yeah.
Well, let's get political already. Come on, government. When are you actually going to put some money in it for musicians, eh? Stop charging musicians an absolute fortune to go and play abroad anywhere.
Yeah, that's
isn't it?
Crazy. Right. I think they're just trying to make it hard for people. I think it all kind of started during COVID, didn't it? I mean, I remember we went over to America and we were worried about there was stuff coming in, these laws. Oh, you've got to pay this, pay that. Man, we're not getting paid anyway. So, and you have to pay anyway. So to add stuff on top is just injury, adding insult to injury.
Yeah. You've got people going abroad. You see, listen to this government. You've got people going abroad, entertaining the other countries for nothing. And they've got to pay for the privilege. It's going to sound like a Monty Python sketch, isn't it?
Yeah.
It sounds a bit Monty Python, yeah.
It does, doesn't it? Well, look. How long's this journey been going on for you guys now? How long have you all been together?
So we've been together since 2019. We
just at the right time or wrong time.
Yeah, exactly. Well, our album, which ended up coming out in October 21, was all sort of recorded and ready to go, sort of early 2020. So it took a while to get there, but it did us the world of good because we could go back and we thought it was ready, and actually, that extra year made all the difference. The production and all that sort of stuff. But we've all known each other for years, I guess, going back in terms of the journey of the institutes. We've all been fans of each other's work and all sort of known each other from the scene in Coventry. Just weirdly, it all seems to have come together with this set of musicians. It seems to resonate with people, so it's been cool.
we've been going out together, getting drunk together since about 1999, and we've kind of formed this band, so there's an excuse to keep on doing it.
Yeah. You were all what, 12 at the time, and
It ain't far off, it ain't that far off.
Back in the day, when when they used to let youngsters into pubs.
Yeah.
How old are you, Sonny? 18. Oh, that's all right. Of course you are.
Yeah. Yeah, just get in the back room and don't tell anyone.
It was seriously like that back in my day. Absolutely.
It was when I was young.
Yeah. It didn't really matter. I'm not condoning underage drinking or whatever, but I have to say.
But it is fun.
Yeah, it's better. It's cheaper. It's cheaper. Pint of Smiths and I was out of it.
Yeah, well, but I there is something to be said because, I think back in the day, I can remember going to the pub with friends or whatever, and, someone would slip you a half of shandy or whatever it was, and you were like, okay, yeah. And you were probably a little bit too young to be drinking that, possibly, allegedly. Yeah. But it kind of, I don't know, because you were starting young or whatever. And actually, especially, I remember the first time anyone slipped me a pint of ale or whatever.
Well, that's the evolution of a British kid, isn't it?
Yeah. But
a table full of empty Tango cans, and then your dad goes, oh, and you go out and play Tig, and then when you hit 15, it's like, and then you stop playing football, and then that's it. It's just out every 3 nights a week.
But no one went mad with it because it was just like you kind of grew up on it a little bit, and it was part of it, And then we used to go around people's houses and brew it, which was even more fun until you blow up your neighbour's house.
Yeah, that wasn't the booze.
That was just recreational. So listen, in terms of music, where have your influences been from an early age?
Well, I was brought up on Frank Zappa, so my dad's a huge.
Really?
My middle name's actually Zappa, so on my birth certificate. So I love Frank Zappa, but I'm not like my dad. If you know Zappa fans, I'm sure you do. They're kind of like ultimate diehards. It's all they do. Obsessed. So like my dad's got like no pictures of his family on the walls, just Frank Zappa. You know what I mean? They're all like in a drawer, like and locked up. You don't look at the family. There's my family on the wall, Frank Zappa.
It's so like when you used to go to houses and they had Elvis Presley on the wall, but it was Zappa instead. Right.
It's like the guy on your local news show, the Brummie, the big Elvis fan. You know what I mean? But this. I mean, my dad's almost stalkerish. If Zappa was still alive, he'd probably have some sort of ban on him going near him because he used to turn up with records of like 500 records in a wheelbarrow to get them all signed. And they used to think that he was getting them signed for eBay. It's like, nah, they're for me.
Oh, my goodness. So
he's totally obsessed.
Moon Unit and that, like, they've all got an injunction against your dad then.
Yeah, pretty much. But no, to be fair, my dad's probably got shares in the Zappa family, the amount he buys. But that's what I'm saying, basically. So I was brought up on that. So I was actually brought up on what I would call is like good, proper music. Also the Moody Blues, Neil Young, Dylan. But Zappa was always a little bit too long for me. I like pop songs. So it kind of evolved into me liking like just 3-minute good pop songs. I don't care who it is. My influences are just, if it's a good song, it's a good song.
Right.
That's really it, I'd say.
But what was the first song then that really sort of made sense to you?
I would say Michael Jackson was the first guy that really made me feel emotional. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like just listening to some of his like early vinyls, actually listening to like stuff like Bad, and I used to like Bryan Adams and stuff like that. Everything I do it for you, because that was number one when I was just leaving primary school, and it was just I just knew it was a good song.
It was probably number one when you joined primary school.
It's still number one now.
It was number one when you left. Do you remember that song went on and on?
Yeah. I actually sang that in assembly, so that was my first performance.
It was crazy that, and then it was followed by Wet, Wet, Wet. Love is all around.
Yeah, Wet, Wet, Wet. No, what was it? Feeling? No, that was
Love
in my fingers.
Yeah, Love is all around.
Feeling in my toes. That's
exactly.
I do like going back to that era. I love that era. I think there's some cracking pop songs from back then. Then you realise 90% of them are actually covers from like 60s songs, but done in a more popular way.
Yeah, absolutely. It was because that was a Trog song, wasn't it? Etc. And it was It was a great era in terms of music. The charts really seemed to matter, didn't they?
Yeah,
the charts. I did love that growing up. I did love that sort of like, you know, I don't know about you, but you used to
you anticipated it, didn't you? You anticipated it, and you had to wait for it. It was an event.
You used to go down Woolworths, bless its cotton socks, long rest its soul. You know, and you used to, or WH Smiths or whatever, and you used to queue up, you used to buy your single, and it was a bit like a game. You were like, I bought this now, I'm going to get my band to #1 in the charts. Unfortunately, most of the bands that I followed, it was like, we started number 49 next week, number 62.
Yeah. I think that in a sense kind of like, I don't know whether it's better for someone to be back around then or it's better to be around now, because obviously now like it's so hard to be heard, it's just like almost impossible. I know I read a stat the other day, like how many million songs come out per day, you know, like on all platforms. It's just like, how are you supposed to kind of stand out amongst that?
Yeah, well, I guess and you can tell me better than I can probably tell you, but I guess there's still an element where you graft, and that's part of it, isn't it? I mean, that's what you're out doing at the moment. You know, you say you're out.
Where's
touring.
Kirk? There he is. He will answer that about grafting. Although he doesn't drive, so we do most of this graft. But you can.
Yeah, go on. Talk to us about grafting. How important is it to just have that work ethic these days?
I mean, yeah, it's. I mean, we were talking earlier, weren't we, about how, you know, the sort of, you know, the pay up stickers and all that sort of stuff, and it is difficult. It's difficult to do anything, you know. Very clearly, I mean, quite clearly, I think the working class have been frozen out of the music industry because everything's expensive. Everything's, you know, it's difficult to get that note. Like, you need to pay to get that notice. What we're hopefully doing, because it's the love of it, and because probably, you know, we really sort of believe in these songs and we've been doing it for a long time, you know, the graft is, you know, always being on social media, you know, keeping up to date with what the algorithms are doing, which is completely alien to all of us.
Nobody can keep up with an algorithm.
Do you know what I mean?
I can't even spell it.
Every week, you know, post daily, post twice a week, post daily, use 2 hashtags, use 5. Don't use any. Start every sentence with you. You know, all this sort of stuff, and it changes all the time. You've got to do all that.
Mate, I own a social media marketing business, and I still don't understand it. Right, so you know,
You know, so that on top of, you know, building your profile IRL, and you know, fortunately, it is a graft, but it's also fun because you're doing it with your mates.
Yeah. I would also say that it's a massive, it's an outlet for some people, you know, like some people emotionally, music becomes your only outlet. Not that we're like sat all depressed, because we're not like that as people, but just that music is that, you know, it might be that 3 hours rehearsal a week. That's you getting out there. It's like, for some musicians, it's like going to the gym and pumping iron. You know what I mean? It's so like the hard work. You might say it's hard work. So if your mind is like locked in like that, then it's not really like a job as such. Because obviously you're not going to get paid much anyway. But you know what I mean. So a lot of people give up because they think they should be noticed straight away. Well, that's not going to happen. You know what I mean? I'd do this even if nobody knew me. You know, like a Sunday league footballer turning up on a Sunday in the snow, getting changed in the back of a knackered Fiesta. I'd still do it. You know what I mean? I don't think I'm going to be Ronaldo. I just do it because it's just part of me. It's my DNA.
Yeah. I've talked to quite a number of sort of current bands at the moment that are, you know, guitar bands, etc., on the scene, etc. And one of the things that I love about the current scene is that everybody is just really in it together as well. I really love that about the scene, which I think didn't exist in the past. I think there used to be so much more kind of rivalry between bands and whatever. I'm not saying everybody's like that. There are a few.
I would say I think you learn, maybe not just age. I think you learn in the music industry and how cutthroat it is, that if you're not nice, you're never going to get a favour off anyone, and a lot of it is about favours when you need them most. So, like, if you're going to ignore everybody and never go and watch them or say nice things about them, one day you might think, shit, sorry, we need to ask them for a favour. because we want to do that support slot, or we need to say, can we, you know, borrow this? You're not going to get anything back. So the trouble is, there's too many cocky young bands. They're about, and they think the ego is going to get them to the top. It's not. It's about working together.
I think the other thing is as well. I mean, I definitely noticed that as well with regards to, you know, the sort of almost like a solidarity between independent musicians or
100%.
or people at that bottom rung. And I think really you know, struggle recognizes struggle, doesn't it? And I think you know, we're making it sound like it's all doom and gloom and hard work. We go on stage and we play music that we really enjoy, and people listen to us. You know, that's something. I mean, it's so magical, special, whatever word you want to call it. It's amazing, but also we're all sort of in it together, and you know that there are those times where it's tough. So struggle recognizes struggle.
But I notice it myself. I mean, many moons ago. I mean, I was in a band when I was 19, 21, etc. I was in a signed band.
1921.
1921. I'm looking quite good. I'm looking quite good.
Didn't you play live on the Titanic?
Yeah, as it went down.
Closer to thy God than thee, or whatever it was.
I was the only one that survived.
You swam it back because you knew you might get paid when you get home.
Yeah. I was in a dress at the time. I did this.
Down.
I did this first.
Oh God, I love this.
But
Can you stay here all night?
Yeah, of course. Let's get the beers in. Look, yeah, but I was also doing radio back then, and you know, we didn't have any of this. We didn't have like people being able to broadcast on the internet and stuff like that. So it was a time when there was a lot of preciousness about everything, and it was like, you know, I'd be doing a radio show, and it's like, oh well, now we have these people coming in today, and you like, you know, you've got to be nice to them, and it's like they're very important, and it's like, you know, all of this sort of nonsense. And you know, now it's like it just feels like everybody's doing it from their bedroom.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You know, everybody's, you know, people are broadcasting from their bedroom, you know, and it just feels like, in terms of the relationship with the fans, you know, when I put this out on Twitter, etc., and you get so much coming back where people go, oh, I love that band, you know, it's great. Oh, you know, thanks for doing that.
That's definitely the beautiful side of it, because you can literally, if you want to know a bit about a band, you can almost feel like you can get to know them in like, you know, half an hour. You can go on their YouTube page and you can go, oh, there's them backstage, there's them having a laugh like down with their mates in the pub. You know, like you can almost watch their lives if you do it right, because a lot of bands need to do that now because that's what people want. So like they don't just want music anymore, they want this. They want, and that's the demand that's becoming part of the music industry. And the people that don't do it, unfortunately, they kind of get left behind a bit. So it's either do it or get done.
I think the other thing that I've noticed as well, you know, between now and probably the time that you were talking about, is genre doesn't seem to matter anymore either.
Not a.
I mean, I remember years ago, I was in a band that wasn't doing quite as well as the Institutes are, but did okay. And it was a punk band. And it wasn't just that we all were sort of looking down our noses at bands that weren't punk bands. It was bands that, well, you're rockabilly punk, you're psychobilly punk.
Yeah, little details. But everyone was like that in the noughties. Everyone was like that in the noughties because everyone coming out of the late 90s and into the early 90s, everyone jumped on Summit, didn't they? It was your Strokes rip-offs completely. The Interpol rip-off. Anyone who was still doing Oasis in 2002 were just, I don't even talk to me, you know what I mean? It's like, and now it's in the full circle and just do what you like, and we're all sound with it.
Everyone
as long as you're all right.
Appreciate music lovers. I think music is the identity rather than genre now.
Yeah, I think like, awesome. You know, back in the day it was genre and you were hooked onto what you're into. So obviously with the Spotify we were talking about earlier, it might have had a positive effect because it's opened us up to different kind of, you know, I used to swag around at school. I got told off for speaking in a Mancunian accent, you know what I mean? And I used to, my mum used to iron my hair onto my spots, you know what I mean? And I used to just whack like that, you know what I mean? Mad for it. And like, and if you didn't like that, that was it. get lost. You know what I mean? But now
well,
I'm just like,
you're absolutely right. We all did. We all did it. We all sort of like, and and the funny thing is if you look back upon your life at the time, and think about it, is when you transitioned from one thing to the other. Like I remember going through a phase where like there was a group of us, we all wore long black trench coats, and we all got into things like craft work and stuff like that, and we were all like, we're going to be real moody, and
they were pretty good though.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? We're going to be really moody and like, we're going to carry simps,
smoke cigarettes and not talk to anyone.
Yeah, exactly. Carry, use an umbrella to walk and all of that sort of thing. And then the next month you'd be like, you'd have a t-shirt with a cow on the front and something that was really rude.
And that insane thing across your face.
And then, I was going to say in spiral carpets, and we all came into school with like the hair, like was that.
I loved it.
Yeah, but
that's the beauty of it.
Whilst it was great, all of that, and getting into all of those little clubs and whatever, you did get that. You used to go around to people's houses and they'd go look at your CD collection and go, really?
Yeah.
Really? And nowadays, no one would do that. They'd be like, "Oh, that's interesting."
But then I always think as well about all the cool stuff that I missed out on. I missed out on so much cool stuff that I'm discovering now from like the 2000s. Like, now, if you'd have told me 10 years ago that there are some hip hop artists that you're gonna love, I'd have turned my nose at but man,
but the beautiful thing is,
go back and tell myself. Like,
everybody can see your CD collection. No one can see my playlist. That's why I've got 3 locks on my phone. Because I'm running down the street singing along to it.
So let's talk about what you're doing now. Let's talk about the you've got a new single, etc. Where's the music headed direction wise now?
I would say musically we are heading in a better direction, because first album was not rushed in any way at all, but it was like we picked our 10 best songs and we just laid them down because we wanted them recorded. Obviously the album, I won't say took off, but it's done better than we ever expected. So that's kind of inspired us to kind of like know what we really, really want and it's to write songs that just appeal to everyone, like almost anthems, I would say, like in an Oasis kind of term. And I don't mean that we're going to be a global superstars. I mean that it's just like, I want people to listen and go, that means something to me, no matter who they are. And you can make up your mind what it means to you. And I want the words to be decent, but not too narrative. I want the choruses to lift in a big way. And I just want them to just like just be really good songs. Because if they're not good songs, that's probably the day I'm going to say it's probably time to call it a day. I feel like I'm at the top of my writing.
When you're saying about the lyrics, is that where you'd say you're more Liam than Alban?
I would say, yes. I would say for me, lyrically, I love lyrics, but I'm not a descriptive writer. I don't like writing about situations in particular. I like it to be more generic for people, more of an art form where people can go, that relates to me in that way, or that relates to me in that way. So it might be an addiction, or it might be love because they're closely related. You know what I mean? Or it might be something to do with loss. It might be something that's just
quite abstract, Reed.
I
think they're really abstract, which means that loads and loads of people can sort of make it their own. Quite similar to Kurt Cobain in that way, I think.
Yeah, I would say also like a big influence for me lyrically at the minute, and I don't bang on about this band, but lyrically I think they're great because it's just not that much. It's the DMAs, the way like for now, the second album, the way the lyrics are and the landscape of the music, I just love it. It doesn't push anything down your throat. I'm not really. I love. Like Blur, I liked Blur, but they were just too. It was just too much about one thing. Like I love the Kinks, though. That's the one band that I'll let off because they're just great. They describe everything to absolute detail, which I love. You know what I mean? but I'm more of a
You want to write songs where people can build their own pictures.
Yeah, that's exactly it for me.
That's it.
That's it. And that's great. And do you know what that lends itself to as well? That lends itself to being listened to in a car as well. or on a train. I always think, because, you know, great music like that is where, you know, you sit and you listen to it on the journey, and you go, and you look out the window, and you start,
and
you start
you go,
thinking, and you.
I love this Top Gear CD. This is brilliant.
Yeah. But you know what I mean? You start building your own video to the film, to the music, that as you're listening to it, and that becomes, you know, or so, as you say, something happens in your life, and you go, God, that's the song about that breakup, etc. You know, it might not be. You might have written it about a cat.
That dumped you.
Dumped. but it doesn't matter, because
both.
You know, somebody's pulled their own interpretation to it.
Yeah, I think for us as a band, and Kurt will agree, because I've heard him say it before, we are about lyrics. They have to fit. And Hawley is forever telling me that doesn't fit. So I don't write the lyrics specifically or individually. I certainly have a go, but what I'll do is my process is to write. So I'll hear something that Hawley's played. He knows if it's good or not. I know if it's good or not. The band will get a vibe around it, and then I'll add a melody, and the melody will always be words that are made up. So, like, you know, anything could be anything, as long as the phrasing works. And then sometimes those lyrics actually stick, because Hawley will go, actually, you got that first time, without sounding like one of these guys who wrote it himself in 3 minutes, because that's rubbish. It doesn't work like that. It does on a documentary, but it doesn't real life.
I wrote a song once called Yellow Pages. And
this
is absolutely true. Absolutely.
I thought you meant you picked it up.
No, I wrote a song called Yellow Pages, and the reason I called it Yellow Pages was because sometimes when I was singing for the band and we were just playing through tunes, I was focusing on melody and whatever, and I would literally pick up the Yellow Pages and just start singing lines from the Yellow Pages.
Yeah.
But
the Chinese takeaway is getting loads of business that night, like
Number 38.
0891 50 50 50. This is a banger.
Hey, I'll tell you what, if you hear that on the next album, folks, it's a fantastic order. I ain't seen
the Yellow Pages in about 15 years anyway.
Well, do you know what? They were really useful books, the Yellow Pages. I used to prop up tables with them. I can't think of anything else I used to do with them, but you know, they were. I mean, they were amazing, weren't they? Those Yellow Pages.
Yeah.
You see them like this sort of size.
Oh yeah, they were amazing.
They just used to turn up in the post for free, didn't they?
Yeah. Well,
they couldn't get them through the letterbox.
We thought that they turned up in the post. The aliens left them.
Yeah.
Yellow aliens.
Yeah.
Could you?
It was early form of sort of TikTok you know, sort of that sort of government.
And the phone book. That was a classic.
Phone book
was
Who pays for all this? It must have been aliens.
Yeah,
and then like
we used to have the Thompson directory, Yellow Pages, and the phone book.
Remember the Thompson? Yeah. And you used to have your nans at home, like, that was just so perfect with a little Filofax one, like. Love
laminated.
Do you know what? This is twice I've talked about old phones today.
She only used to ring one person out of it ever. She had about 200 numbers, like my phone. I only ever speak to my dad. He's the only person that likes me, and he don't answer.
I had Natalie Shea on earlier, and she said, "Well, I don't like my phone." And I was saying, I'm old enough to remember, because she was saying, "Oh, I'm old enough to remember." I said, "No, forget that. I'm old enough to remember phones where you actually put your finger in and dialed like that." They were
bad boy.
They were amazing, because it took you 10 times. Took you 10 times to dial a number sometimes, because you get like.
When you get it wrong at the end, like the last digit wrong.
I'm dyslexic, so I can't remember numbers before, any more than 3 numbers in a row. Can't do it, right? So it would be like 6,
9, 9.
Someone tried talking to you in the middle of it, or doing numbers. People used to stand behind you and count numbers while you were trying to dial a number. You completely mess it up. Oh, these days you just
brilliant.
There you go.
Yeah, that's it. It's so easy.
So how are you pushing yourself then with this album? How are you pushing yourselves forward?
I mean, really, it's sort of like a two-pronged. Well, it's just playing, to be honest.
Yeah,
Graham. It's just literally getting ourselves in as many places as we possibly can, and in front of as many eyes as we can, really, as well. We love playing live, and it's sort of part of our, you know, Reed talks about how being a musician was part of our DNA. I think playing live definitely is part of that. There's nothing better than a gig, and there's nothing, you know, more fun and more rewarding as a musician, I don't think, than a gig and playing a good gig. So we'll literally travel anywhere and everywhere. You know, when we did our US tour last year, out of nowhere, so, you know, we played a festival in New York and a festival in South by Southwest in Texas.
Yeah.
And we were due to go home after that, and somebody just came along and sort of offered us a gig in LA. So that was just one night in LA, but you know what? Well worth it, because we ended up playing to 250 people.
That was one of the most surreal situations of my life, because there were a lot of people there to watch us in LA who had clocked onto our album somehow, and they were at the front. You know, like as an unsigned band, and every unsigned band will say that they agree, because you don't know if anyone's going to come to your show. You don't know, really. You know what I mean? Obviously, what's happening with us at the minute is there are people coming to watch us. We're buying tickets, albeit not millions, but people are watching. So that inspires you to perform or to write another album, because you feel like this is snowballing and people are actually listening. Because we've had a lot of stuff going on Twitter, especially, well, every platform, but Twitter's a good place for people that like to take pictures, and we had Tim's listening party on Twitter and stuff. So people have actually looked at us and, you know, showed us pictures of the album, and it's not just 10 people, it's a whole bunch of people. So that makes you go, Jesus Christ, this is really good fun. You know what I mean? And to be able to interact with them and talk to them about songs, and they're just normal people like us. Like, it's just brilliant, man.
I was going to ask you about that. How was that, doing the listening party? That must have been brilliant.
It was a rush. It was a real rush. Like half an hour of banging heart, you know, your heart banging because it's just the adrenaline, like all that sort of instant feedback. I think the album had been out for about maybe 2 months or something like that, and you get feedback, and obviously, you know, your mum says it's great, you know, but
she said it was awful.
Did Tim say anything privately to you about it? Did Tim say anything privately about the album to you?
Tim, no. I mean, to be honest,
to get picked out of so many, tens of thousands of applicants, it was just crazy, because I know it wasn't a long wait before we got accepted.
Getting that that real time feedback from it, and people asking you questions about it in real time. What I enjoyed was mad. You know, I do a lot of the sort of artwork for the singles and all that sort of stuff. And it was cool, people like just discovering that side of things and asking questions about. It was just,
I totally agree
on a really nice experience.
The instant reactions was the coolest part of it, because you could literally watch people go, "Wow," you know, like, because you all listen to it at the same kind of time, and then people are going like, "Wow, who are these?" It's like you're like listening to yourself. See, I listen to the Institutes like it's not my band a lot of the time. You know what I mean? I just like it. That sounds like it's egotistical, but it's not. I just like listening to it. Well, my dad listens to it literally all the time still. It's one of his favourite albums, which is quite funny, you know. I haven't pushed it onto him, although I do lock him in a room with a sandwich. Like,
I think that's fine. I mean, I sometimes find it a little odd, actually, when you talk to artists and they go, "You'll never listen to my own music." You just think, well, that's a bit odd, because you're spending all this time making it.
Yeah, surely. I think definitely what happens with bands is it does get to a point where you have to stop listening to it because you drive yourself mad. You know what I mean? Right. Because you have to listen to it at the end of the day. The reality is because you've got to be a perfectionist with it, because it's your product. You know what I mean? It's the same as, like, you know.
Because there are those things that will drive you mad. There are certain songs on the album that I just can't listen to now. Not because I don't think they're a good song, or maybe
you hear something in it that you prefer.
I wish I'd have done that, or I wish I'd
all of it.
Like that's like a bit.
I wish I'd sung the phone book.
I get it all the time. I wish we had a different drummer on this album. So I've actually got a different drummer to play drums on. I love that album. That's wicked.
I'm being earnest here, Reed. Oh my God.
That's turning into.
Thought your name was Kirk.
Yeah, well, that's turning into like bad news. Have you ever seen the comedy Bad News with Ade Edmondson and Rick?
Oh
Mail?
yes, I have actually. Yeah, I have seen that.
And there's the scene in it where they're all in the studio and they're recording our songs, and the bassist is awful, right? So the bassist, they get the bassist to go off down I think it's go off down the shops to get some fags or something or whatever. He goes off down the shop. When he gets back, he said, someone done something to the bass. No. We recorded all the bass parts while he went down.
It's a bit of Spinal Tap vibe to it, isn't it? That is. Is that after the Young Ones? Just after?
Yeah.
I think it was. Yeah, because obviously it was way before Bottom. Like, that's class.
Yeah. It's got one of my favourite scenes ever. I have recalled this before, but it has got one of my favourite scenes ever from a comedy. Ade Edmondson is playing the lead singer, and Jennifer Saunders, who in real life is his wife, is playing a journalist, a music journalist, and she goes down to his basement where he writes with him, and he says, I'll play you a new song that I've written, and it was given to me by the ghost of John Lennon. He's got his little keyboard in front of him. Here we are. Prop. He's got his little keyboard in front of him, and he starts playing, and he goes, and she looks at him. He goes, it's called Imogen.
Imogen.
she went,
Imogen, the people.
You mean Imagine? He said, no, Imogen, and then he starts singing. He goes, Imagine all the people.
I love him. He's genius. He's absolute god. They're absolutely brilliant.
That's one of your jokes, Reed.
That is, it's brilliant.
I'm using that tonight. All right.
Are you putting that out?
Yeah, that is.
Are you
tonight? I'm surprised.
No, I'm going out to watch a band, a Coventry band called Sons of Rest. They're a good local band. They're just a good band. So go watch them really tonight with Hawley, who's out and about there tonight already.
What's your, in terms of, if you could support someone at the moment, who would you be supporting? Who would be the dream support?
Oh, I got it. Well, do you know what? We're lucky because we've got some decent festivals coming up, and there's some names on those festivals that I look at and I go, "Ooh, that's nice." Technically, we're not like supporting them, but we're on the same bill as them. So that's
if you're just underneath them somewhere on the poster, you are supporting them, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's it.
Yeah. And Kirk's really good at chopping our name, making it bigger and putting it just under the main band. So, but I think Kirk's frozen or he's cold.
He could be just cold. I'll tell you what.
But anyway, But going back to who I'd like to support. So I've heard a rumor today. I don't know if it's official. You might know that Oasis are reforming for definitely maybe 30 years. I don't know if that's official, but one of the lads on our group chat said that because it's 30 years, definitely maybe. Who knows? I don't know. But Oasis would be good.
Until it actually happens, will we?
Oasis would be good. I think we look at bands to support that people that would like our music. You know what I mean? So, but I mean, I wouldn't want to go and support if he was still alive, someone like Michael Jackson, because 99% of the crowd would be like, "What is this?" So you have to pick someone of your genre. So obviously, it'd be great to support DMAs, and it'd be great to support Stone Roses. It'd be great to support Ian Brown, who I think is playing in Coventry soon. That would have been an amazing one to get involved with. He's playing at the Empire in Coventry, which would be ace. But anyone that's not so much a massive influence, but someone who's big but sounds like us. Yeah,
and there's been it, and maybe as well someone that's been there, seen it, and you can actually get some stories from as well.
Yeah, we'd love. What we love is bands jumping onto us and saying that they like us. When we played at Shiiine Festival, which is just full of people like me and you, you know what I mean? It's like they're so easy to get along with, and it's just a great vibe, and they're there for the music. So we also met the Real People guys, and they they were just brilliant. I mean, they're a massive influence on Oasis, a lot more than people know. I mean, I went away and listened to them. I'll be honest, I wasn't a big I wasn't a big fan. I just wasn't aware of them that much. And I went away and I've been listening to them ever since. And they've just blown me away how much like they are, like Oasis they are, but they've never gone and, you know, never made it front page news. And yeah, they were just great guys. They were just there to chat to us and help us along the way, and just bands like that. I mean, I played with Kasbah before. That was great, and they were great guys. Just anyone really. We're all very similar. Like these kind of bands, we're all very similar.
Anyone that's up for a good crack. I remember at Glastonbury backstage one year. I was working backstage, and I was interviewing bands, and here he is. He's back. Back once again with the Renegade Master.
Oh, he's changed. He sold the bed. Have you sold that bed? Is that someone come to pick it up?
Gone, yeah. So I took it all
How much did you get for it?
The power of eBay.
It's beautiful, mate. Oh, I love it. Kids are sleeping on the sofa tonight.
We were just talking about your support slot with Oasis, which you know we're all looking forward to. And Ian Brown, you know, supporting you as well. But
none of those things were said, Kirk.
But yeah, no, I think it's important. Yeah, I did that one year at Glastonbury, and a band that I didn't really know particularly well, the Saw Doctors. They came off.
Oh yeah,
they came off main stage. And I had an interview booked with them, and the first thing they said was, "What are you drinking?" You know, and then a crate of Guinness appeared, and the rest of the afternoon was lovely. I mean, it was just someone that wants to chat and hang out and be in the same space as people. That's what you really want, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%, mate.
There you go.
Yeah, you know, like I think I'll just quickly add in there, like backstage nowadays is probably nothing like it was back in the 70s and 80s, 90s or whatever. So like sometimes you go backstage now and you'd rather go back. You could rather go out there with the people and have a few beers, you know what I mean? But like, so it's nice to find bands that want to interact and have a good time backstage and just share stories and have a laugh together, you know what I mean?
Absolutely. Well, listen, you've got music coming out. Do you want to just tell people what that is and when it's out?
Yeah, so we've got a current single out at the moment, and we're so that's a single called Inside Out. The song is available on the album, but what's happened is we've sort of reissued it, reimagined it with some strings. Our two guitarists have put together, put together a string arrangement for it, and we got somebody called Julia Violinista who performed it for us beautifully, and it really adds an impact. You know, really gives that sort of hark back to those 90s indie orchestral
whatever kind of vibe.
Yeah, we're also really proud of the video for it as well. That came about as another sort of celebrity fan of ours, Robert Carlyle.
Amazing. Yeah.
And he sort of put us in touch with his mate to be in the who sort of agreed to be in the video. Turned out his mate was the star of Outlander and had been in, you know, a Terminator film.
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah,
he plays me.
He's great. He's a guy called Steve Cree, also a Scottish guy, and he's, you know, we're really proud of the video. Made, you know, really wicked. Cool story. He's such a tremendous actor. I thought acting was easy until we did that video with him.
Oh mate, it's not. It's not. I've done a little bit. It's really not.
Oh man, he became someone else. He literally became someone else. It was amazing.
Yeah, it was awesome.
If you think there's a lot of standing about in music, there's a hell of a lot of standing about in acting.
Oh yeah, I bet.
Yeah. Far too much. So that's out. We'll see more new music from you later this year, will we?
Yeah, we're currently demoing our album, ready to sort of go into the studio proper. Sort of whittling down the songs. I think we've whittled down the songs.
We've got 6 singles. We've got 6 definite singles from it, and it's hard to choose which is which because they're all they're all big. They're all really big. And we're building and building. We're making them like bigger and bigger and bigger as we go along because that's where we're at the minute. Kind of, we've got a little bit more time just to develop because the lucky thing is with the album, it's kind of like it's had a little second coming, if you like. So it's still got some legs. We've got the single that's been re-released, which we're surprised. This is actually been out for a while, Inside Out, but it's been re-released, revamped, and it's kind of just given us that time to build these songs a bit more.
Which is great. There's no rush. So it just means take your time and get it right.
And we're sort of working out how we want to release the next songs as well, because obviously we've got an album's worth. We've probably got more than that, but do we put it out as an album? Do we put it out as EPs, so it keeps things fresh and new and all that sort of stuff? So there's still a few things to be decided, but all the material's there. If you want to come and see us live, we're pretty much up and down the country. We're playing some really cool festivals, Candle Calling. And those new songs will appear in the set as well, as we sort of test them out and trial them out in front of all, audiences.
Yeah.
Playing
thumbs up, thumbs down.
Yeah.
Well, here's the important things, folks, and I say it every time. Download the music, pay for it. If you're going to stream it, that's great. But buy a T-shirt, go to a gig, because otherwise, what are you playing at? It doesn't make itself, this music, right? So just support in any which way you can. If you've enjoyed listening to Reed and Kirk this evening, if you want to know more about the institutes, it's all over. It's easy. You can just Google it these days, and the interweb comes up with it.
You can just call me. I'll talk to you.
Yeah. He's available 24 hours a day, 8 days
I'm really lonely.
In fact, Reed is Chat GPT.
Just swipe right and I'll talk to
you. In all seriousness, it's been an absolute pleasure and a blast talking to you both. See you sometime out on the road.
Top man, Graham.
Let's keep in touch. When you've got an album or whatever it is, come on back and let's talk.
We'll be glad to come back. Thanks for having us so much. It's been brilliant.
Thank you very much indeed. If you've enjoyed these guys, do just support them by buying something or buying a ticket. Go and see them. Live music's what it's all about. Yes. Until next time, this has been my music. Subscribe to this if you feel the need, but very much so, share it with other people so that they get to see the musicians. I don't care about myself. I'm going to go and have a drink now.
Yay.
Bye for now, everybody.
Take care.